It's the Selling for Life podcast.
If you're buying, we're selling.
Here's your three-headed monster, Steve, Big Al, and Kevin. All right, and welcome to another installment of the Selling for Life podcast, sponsored by Conical Parts, a world of parts with a personal touch. This podcast is about more than just selling stuff. We think if you stick around, you'll get a lot out of it. Oh, yes. And if you're buying, we're selling. And this is episode 56. I'm Steve, and I'm joined by Sales Master Kevin. And on the phone is Conequip owner, artificial hip recipient, and oldest 41-year-old in the world, Al Alexander.
Dude, I can't believe you called me the oldest 41-year-old.
What does that even mean? The oldest 41-year-old.
He's the oldest. Who the heck gets a hip replacement at the age of 41?
Dude, first off,
football players.
I just turned 40. I turned 44 on Monday.
Okay, so you're the oldest 44-year-old.
And let me make a correction. It's my second hip replacement, okay?
No
now I got two fake hips.
Oh, yeah, that's
It
right.
is not.
It is.
Well, that's from playing professional football.
I got my left hip done 4 years ago, and my right hip done last week.
Okay, well, there you go.
I think all the in-crowd's doing it. It's kind of like,
It's a trend.
Why not?
It's a trend.
I kind of assume that probably in the near future, professional athletes are just going to get that stuff done
prior to football.
Yes, because that'll just be better than what they have already. But before we get to that, you guys know what time it is?
News headlines.
News headlines.
You got that right. Okay, Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, all right. You guys know who Mama June is, right?
No?
Okay, you know who Honey Boo Boo is?
Yes.
Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, yes, you do, Steve. Mama June is her mother.
Okay.
Honey Boo Boo's mom. So there's been a lot of complaints in the neighborhood because she moved up. She moved up onto the east side. And apparently the neighbors want the trash gone.
Which trash? The trash?
Oh, yeah. Let me elaborate on that. So she has a big dumpster in front of her house that they want out of there.
Okay.
Amongst other things. I guess they aren't the best neighbors, you know. Her lover has gotten a few DWIs on their street, crashed into their garage at like 30 miles per hour. There's trash all over the yard. There's a dumpster. The house is like the door is falling off. And the HOA, you know, they're just like, you guys got to go. Every neighbor is just like, you're bringing down the value of our property. They want her out of there.
I never watched that reality show at all. I've seen a couple clips. They definitely look like winners.
They are winners. That is true. But apparently not to the HOA of their neighborhood.
Oh, have you ever had a bad neighbor like that?
Is it possible for that to happen? Like, can a HOA vote you out of your actual rental or your real estate?
Yeah, I mean, once you sign that contract, you know, you got to abide by that. If you don't pay the fees and you don't, you know, keep your shrubs in order or not paint your house.
Or you fly the American flag. You got to take the American flag down.
Steve, that's very offensive.
Put the ISIS flag
The American flag is the most offensive flag you can fly. But yeah, no, there are rules like that, and you can easily get tossed out. They can force you to sell, and that's probably what's going to happen because they're that family's train wreck.
A hurricane headed to Florida. Hurricane Dorian. This thing's going to be a Category 4 when it hits.
Ooh,
they think, if it hits. It says about, I don't know, with sustained winds right now of almost 100 miles per hour. And this thing is barreling towards Florida.
Is it going to hit the Atlantic side or the Gulf side?
The Atlantic.
Ooh, you lived over there, Steve-O.
Yep. Yeah, we've had some hurricanes. No big deal. Just go inside your house and, enjoy the show. Al, what do you have?
There's actually a lawsuit happening right now against an Atlanta, Georgia hotel for too much sex trafficking happening at the hotel.
That is crazy. Where is that?
That's slavery, dude. In Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
I didn't think that was happening in the States.
Dude, it's happening. It happens in like Minnesota. I think like Minnesota is like the number one city in the U.S. In that area, and then number 2 is Buffalo.
No way.
Are you serious? So they kidnap people and force them
human trafficking,
like young kids, all ages. What?
I think it's just
it's all ages of people.
Right.
You basically what happens is someone kind of befriends you, gets you comfortable, you're hanging out, you're partying, they get you all high, then they get you hopped up on drugs and keep you high, and they basically own you. You're like a slave, and you don't know. They keep you so messed up, and then you get junkied on it. So a lot of people you look down on, we're going in society, like, oh, yeah, might have been forced into that situation, and it's found now that it's happening rampantly across the U.S. People don't even realize it.
Oh, man, I just hate to hear that. Wish I could.
It's crazy, dude.
That's crazy that it's happening here. And the fact that Buffalo's number 2. Where the heck does that even happen in Buffalo? It's just crazy.
It's crazy. Well, they have some serious ministries that help people get back out of that stuff. Right in Buffalo, there's like one of the largest facilities that has been built recently to help women get out of that kind of lifestyle. And it's a lifestyle in a sense, they call it. That's what people are calling it, like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Turns into one.
Our company supports a ministry called Destiny Rescue. Get involved if you haven't heard of it. You Google search it, someone out of slavery for about $1,500.
Wow.
So we've done 4 in the last year, 4 people we bought out of slavery.
Oh, awesome.
It's amazing.
Awesome. All right, well, tell me about your hip. What's going on? What's the latest? First tell me about the experience of getting the new hip, what you went through. Try to do it within a minute, and then tell me where you are now.
All right, cool. So, last Thursday, they chopped me open, slapped the new hip within an hour and a half. I mean, it took me a couple hours to get out of, anesthesia. I kept on waking up and, talking to the nurses and, asking them what their name was. I'm sorry, what was your name? But I finally got out and walked, within an hour after that, and I've been supposed to get up every hour, just walk around the room, and they actually sent me home same day.
Okay.
So I've been at home. I've been home for a week, chilling. My wife is waiting on me hand and foot.
Nice.
As my children are, and I'm walking now. I had my first doctor visit, little X-rays to check out how they're looking, and the hips are looking good.
Yeah. I
said, hey, I asked the physician's assistant, am I cleared to do anything? Whatever doesn't feel painful, do it.
Yeah.
And so how about sex, right?
Oh,
and
Lord,
of course, my wife was dying laughing, and the PA says, yes, you can resume normal activity.
Oh, boy.
My wife's like, you're a dork.
Okay, every step of the way, pun intended there, you have to just keep trying new things, right, to kind of push the limit a little bit. Is that right?
I don't know. Are you trying to segue into your topic today?
And it's time for the topic of the day, and the topic of the day is challenging yourself. Do you ever wonder why people put themselves through tough physical demanding activities like mountain climbing or running a marathon? What is it with these people? What do they get out of something like that? Pushing themselves to the brink of physical and mental exhaustion. The desire to achieve is in our genes, I think. Everyone wants to feel accomplished, from climbing mountains to pulling off a fantastic Thanksgiving meal for their family and friends. I want you guys to guess who said the following quotes. You ready? It's a little trivia. You got to buzz in. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Who said that?
John F. Kennedy.
You got it. L's up 1-0. Who said this? And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Who said that? That Kevin definitely won't know this one.
I agree.
Woodrow Wilson.
Close. Apostle Paul.
Oh, okay.
Real close. Almost.
And finally, the toughest roads often lead to the top. Who said that one? Kevin might get this one.
Anthony Robbins.
Very close. Kevin?
Pass.
Christina Aguilera.
You think very close.
Yeah.
Christina and Tony Robbins are the same.
So when it comes to your sales career, should you always challenge yourself? That brings us to the discussion. And Al, you take it from here. Challenging yourself in your sales career. What should we do day in and day out to do that?
I like to start with personal challenges. I mean, when I'm trying to inspire even our employees or anything about sales, I kind of ask them, what kind of things are they doing in their daily life, What kind of things are they accomplishing in the morning before they get there to work? What kind of things are they doing just to keep their body in shape, their mind, their spirituality in shape? There's a lot of things that goes into just being better at your profession.
Good point.
So basically, like, what's that?
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a good point, Al. You made a really good point there. Why don't you continue? You've earned another minute.
Oh, thanks. I thought you wanted to have an exchange with me, for goodness sake.
No, when you talk, you're like E.F. Hutton. When you talk, we listen.
Sounds good. So personally, I think you need to start with that. Start with your own challenges personally. It could be making your bed. It could be making sure that you exercise every day. Get yourself a goal involving your physique. Get yourself a goal of how many miles you want to run. I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. Get yourself a goal of spending a half-hour day playing with your kids outside without being winded. Mm-hmm. I don't care what it is. You start there. Start with personal stuff. I even like the challenges of mind and body and spirituality going together. Maybe it's a challenge to read your Bible every day. Maybe it's a challenge to read a book a month. Whatever it might be. Get into that kind of habit because it carries over into your sales career. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, you push yourself, right? Every moment you add more skill set, training, practice to what you're doing. Even we've talked months ago about like counting things and seeing where you are before you can even get to where you want to go. And the concepts there are like, well, how can I get better? How can I challenge myself in life? I was just talking to my son just last night. He was kind of seeing me getting ready for bed, and I'm all gimped up. I got like a pharmacy across my dresser, and he's mm-hmm. like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm taking my pills." And how often you got to take them? I said, "Well, yesterday I told him I'm weaning myself off." He's like, "Why?" He's like, I said, "Well, I'm taking some pretty heavy stuff, some pain medicine. I don't want to get like really used to taking. I might get hooked on it. You never know. I just don't want to get used to taking it." Mm-hmm. He's like, "Well, doesn't it hurt?" I'm like, "Yeah, but like life sucks. There's pain in life. You got to push yourself, right?" And I'm telling him, I'm instead of taking it every 4 hours, take it every 6 or every 8 or every 12, and you just keep on moving yourself a little bit. So even in my pain management, I'm trying to push myself and go one step further. And what's the cause? What's the purpose? My purpose is, well, I don't want to freaking be hopped up on drugs past where I need to be. Mm-hmm. I want to think clearly. I want to live well. I want to get recovered quickly, and I don't want to be reliant on anything. Just that lesson of talking to him about it, teaches him, sometimes you're going to suffer for some benefits in life, mm-hmm. and the benefit is me not getting used to a pain medication. And whatever you're succeeding, with, whatever was working, there's always a step that you can make to do a little bit more, I always say. Efficiencies you can figure out. Like Kevin's doing it, in sales every day. I'm sure he's got goals. His manager's talking to him about, hey, I want this out of you. I want that out of you. I want to see you can accomplish this. I think makes life interesting.
Well, let's ask Kevin. Kevin, how are you challenging yourself every day besides seeing how much you can get under Joe's skin?
Well, that is one of my most important goals, Steve, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm succeeding.
Yes.
More and more every day.
Okay.
But, to a point Al made, you've got these different areas in your life. And, setting goals in them is obviously the first step. And you're going to have different goals, obviously, outside of work than inside of work. But actually, when you hit those milestones, whether it be at work, they pull, the other goals along, obviously. It's so important to... like stupid little things that you don't think about. Like, I got my clothes ready for work for the whole week. It's all washed, it's hung up, or maybe you set it out. And then in the morning, it just shaves a little bit off the time that it takes to get something done, or making mm-hmm. your lunch the night before. And those things just help you come into the next day prepared with a clear mind. Mm-hmm. And there's so many different things. Like, those are little things that I do mentally that make me, more ready, focused in the morning, ultimately. And they sound small and minor, but if you wake up 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, and mm-hmm. then you're like, oh crap, mm-hmm. I got to throw this in the dryer, or right. I got to go grab this stuff out of the dryer and, right. and get, just having, being one step ahead of life, mm-hmm. ultimately, whether it be at work, at home, wherever you are. Just try to be one step ahead of what you already know is coming, because you go to work 5 days a week. You already know what's coming. Mm-hmm. Just try to stay ahead of the game.
all counts in large amounts.
Wow, I love that saying.
Yeah, personally, I've lost a fair amount of weight over the last 4 or 5 months, and now I'm pushing myself, no pun intended, to do 10 push-ups, just 10, before I go to sleep at night. 10 is nothing, but it was a whole lot more than what I was doing before. And after I finish them, they take 20 seconds. I feel even that just makes me feel a little more accomplished, and it inspires me to do another thing. And I think just accomplishing anything helps you gain momentum to continue to add things, like you said, Al, to your day, your daily challenges. And the more you achieve, the better I think you feel. It just really helps with your mental state too.
Yeah, I think you got to set a limit, like a goal. You got to know where you start from. Say you could only do 10, right? Mm-hmm. So how about in a couple of weeks, you add 2 more or add 5 more?
Yep.
You can change what you think is mundane, and it can make huge strides, especially when you're facing challenges that you really don't know how to solve or how to overcome. It's the little things that make a difference, yes. Especially, your large, all accounts in large amounts quote from that genius. I don't know his name. But
yeah, so when it comes to sales, just try to make 2 extra calls a day, or try to see 2 extra clients a day, or send out 2 extra emails a day. Whatever types of parameters that you have to gauge whatever type of sales career you have, just challenge yourself to make extra work, make extra progress. Do you know what time it is now?
Well, you seem really tired, Steve.
Do you know what Al, do you know what time it is now?
There you go. Are you okay, Steve? You've been up late editing video.
It is time for the inspirational message. Take it away, Al.
Well, whether your challenge is big or small, tackle it with as much pain medication as you can.
Oh my gosh. You just created about 50 more addicts in the world. Thanks, Al. Wow.
All right, guys. Great podcast.
Yeah, and tell us real quick where our listeners can also hear you in the next few weeks.
I'm actually going to be on the Total Sales Evangelist.
Yes.
I had an interview with him this week. It was really exciting. We talked about closing styles, closing questions. And he's a blast. Donald Kelly. He does a great job. Check out his podcast. Yeah,
so you'll be on that. It's your first ever interview. We're excited about that. And I can't imagine, but there's going to be more to come. And so that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Word up, Al.
Yeah, word up, Al. All right, well, that's it for our 56th Selling for Life podcast. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Check out our website at sellingforlife.com. So remember, whether you're selling Percocets or you're trying to convince yourself you really don't need to take any more Percocets to ward off the pain, one thing is for sure, you're always selling for life.